Is Max Verstappen going for his fifth world title? Will McLaren finally win the Constructors' Championship in Singapore? And Leclerc is walking out of Ferrari? This and many more ahead of the Singapore Grand Prix. Let's dive into this. Singapore is completely opposite from previous low-grip Baku track because it is high-grip maximum downforce. Marina Bay circuit is one of the most physically and mentally demanding track in the calendar, where it is hard to overtake, and in addition, we'll have a sprint race here in 2026, which wasn't one of the greatest Dominicali decisions. In terms of downforce level, we will see packages from Monaco or Budapest. Even though we had some tiny and twisty corners removed in 2023, Singapore is still relatively low speed, high downforce track. It's one of those rare limited tracks which require strong front end and progressiveness on the throttle when exiting the corner. McLaren, who are undeniably favorites for this track, will have some problems in setting up their non-front suspensions. So let's keep an eye on this. Looking at the tires, we have C3, C4, C5, so we expect a one-stopper race. However, safety car could throw out of the window any possible strategy because it appears here relatively often. So let's keep an eye on these two in the race. And it's always the preview. And now let's talk about the news ahead of the Singapore weekend. We'll start with some sad news in Hamilton's family because a few days ago, Roscoe had passed away after fighting for some time in coma, which forced Lewis to cancel his media activities and tire test with Ferrari. It will be a tough weekend for Lewis. Nonetheless, we cross our fingers for him to have a successful result in tribute to our beloved Roscoe. Now let's move to Red Bull part, and let's all admit how stunning Max Verstappen's September was. P2 in Zandvoort, P1 in both Monza and Baku, which stops with his birthday win on Nürburgring. That was his first race in a GT3 in a Ferrari. Particularly it was a 296. They started with P3 in quali. Then when the race came, Max, who took over the first stint, just P1 before the first corner and led all the way to the end of his stint with a gigantic 1 minute gap. And then his teammate Chris Lulam took over the steering wheel and didn't put the foot wrong, which resulted in a marvelous race debut for Max and all the crew. Moving to next Red Bull topic, we have heard that Isaac is going to be Max's teammate, but it is from sources close to Red Bull. However, then Marco went out to media, denied all the rumors and said that they are still evaluating all of their drivers in order to find out who to put alongside Max and in a VCARB seat. So, let me break it down to you. Max and Isaac are the ones who will be on the grid next year. Then there is a clash between Yuki and Liam because there is an Arvid Lindbergh who enters the game. Arvid, as from sources close to Red Bull again, was promised the seat in 2026, and particularly Marco sees in him the next version of Max. Ultimately, we ended up in a position where you wouldn't want Yuki, who is running his 5th year, downgrading to younger team, because it doesn't meant for this type of situation. Now, Liam, who is not only fighting for his seat, but for his entire F1 career. And then there is a promising talent. So, who will be Max's teammate in 2026? Leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments down below. And if there are any news or any information on this, I'll keep you in the loop and follow my Twitter account in order not to miss them. Now, let's head to the last Red Bull related topic. Or from now on, he won't. This is all about Christian Horner, who had a signed contract with Red Bull till 2030, but Red Bull determined it with immediate effect mid-season. And his replacement is Lauren Mackis, under whose guidance Red Bull had already won 2 races and, as Marco claims, became a more technical team. So in order to do that, Red Bull had to pay Horner, as per BBC, Daily Mail, or even The Race, around 90 million. And not only from my point of view, but others as well, Horner isn't done with F1 yet, because this 90 or 100 millions won't satisfy him, because, as we've already seen, he wanted to be a shareholder as Toto Wolff, but there is a hurdle. Now F1 team worth billions of dollars, and it's a question mark who would want to leave their piece of precious pie. We already heard about Haas and Alpine, but it's just nothing serious yet. So if there is any official announcement to be, I'll keep you posted. And now let's talk about the man who walked out of fire. Romain Grosjean drove his fast F1 stint just a few days ago during Pirelli test. What is symbolic about this? It was for Haas, where he had his notorious crash.
Torn the car in half. No wonder the fuel came out of it.
Yeah.
I said the fuel was in the middle of the car, and it's literally...
Whoa! And he's just gone straight across Daniel Kvyat there, as you can see.
That's extraordinary. Yeah.
Just
Set foot in an F1 car for the first time in 5 years, and what is more special is that he had a helmet designed made by his kids. That was originally meant for his farewell in the 2020 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but his crash made it impossible to achieve, so he made it true only now. Now let's talk about price and budget cap. From 2026, FIA want to make a climate-friendly fuel. So this change will implement that money spent on fuel increases from $20 to $250 per 1 liter. FIA Commission made a statement just a few days ago that only 1% of emissions are made on track, so remaining 99 are made off. So this and rule change made FIA make a statement that budget cap increases to $250 million for the 2026 and onwards. So what's going on with Charles' contract in the Ferrari? Apparently, during summer break, Charles held a meeting not only with Lawrence Stroll on his yacht, but with Mercedes and McLaren as well. In McLaren's case, he met particularly with Andrea Stella, who he knew since the Scuderia time, and lawyer Alessandro Alunni. As we all know, when there is even a contract in F1, it doesn't always matter. If Ferrari won't be able to build a championship contender car for 2026, will Charles finally give up on bringing his beloved team on top? Yeah, that's a question mark, but it's just only rumors for now. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, so leave them down below. As not to move from transfer saga, in this case with George Russell and Toto Wolff, they aren't able to sign the contract. Toto spoke openly earlier this year that he would love to have a Max in his team, but now we can also include Charles in this play. George, on the other hand, would want to have a secure time till 2027, because it's how much time he wanted to sign in his contract. However, that doesn't leave the leeway for Toto, as he originally wanted. These talks are continuing right now, but there's not much time left for both parties, because, as we all know, the 2026 season is coming. As we've done the news for today, let me give you my quick prediction for this weekend. The strongest ones will be McLaren, because obviously they are favorites not only for this weekend, but in season. And the slowest ones will be Zaubers, because as we've seen in Monaco case, apart from what happened, and yeah, they were not on par with everyone. In the race, I will put P3 Max, because right now he has much more downforce on his F1 car, and even though it wasn't always a happy ground for him, I think we shouldn't count him out. On the second place, I will put Oscar Piastri, because he will have a great recovery after that weekend in Baku. So in the first place, I will put his teammate Lando Norris, who dominated here last year with a just gigantic gap for 20 seconds. That's all with my predictions, and leave your comments thoughts and wishes on how you would want my content to look. Subscribe on the channel for more F1 content, and I'll see you in the next one.